What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nick. Just wanted to hit on a couple of things right quick, man. Clear my chest. I got a real big problem with what's going on inside the indigenous community today, man. And a lot of people should have a very big problem with it. But the thing about it is that we got a lot of people that's going out here creating their own narrative for history, and they just saying, listen, man, I'm going to act like a Christian. I'm going to just move on in solidarity. As long as I can get people to support me, I don't care if I'm right or wrong. Now, you got a lot of people out here that's basically pushing a narrative that they cannot explain. None of these people can explain it. They just go around repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and basically believing that if they keep on repeating it, it's going to obviously be true. But that's not the case, man. You know what I mean? We got a lot of people that's seeking to conceal the true identity of the naturally occurring people of America. Now, the thing about it is that if you go through art history, if you go through any type of history of the world, these people have labeled us by different colors to explain to you the exact appearance of the people that they saw. But somewhere around the 1830s, with Andrew Jackson, people started to say, hey, man, we got to start making them forget who they are, and we got to start putting up a new person in order to replace them so that they would think that they have no ties to this land whatsoever. And then a couple of years after that, they started creating the slave narrative that basically started saying, y'all don't even have no roots in this land. Y'all have roots in Africa, which is a place that most of our ancestors have never seen. Now, I create a lot of fuss on Facebook for good reason, man, because I see something that's going on with our society that's really sickening to me, because we are playing into it and we are basically creating the divide for our people to be erased. Now, you got a lot of people that are out here that's being turned away from their indigenous history because of the fact that they see what's going on. I try to lead people into the indigenous history and indigenous culture and letting them know that, hey, man, our people are the original people of America, and they being turned away as soon as they go out here and look for information, because they starting to see stuff like we ain't black, we never was, we copper colored, we orange, we yellow, we this and that, we all these different colors of brown. But to them, when they get into it, they say, okay, man, now that don't make no sense. I have a clear understanding, and I can see stuff that happens. I can see a white man mixed with a black woman, or a black woman mixed, a black man mixed with a white woman, and I can see that they can make this different color shades and stuff like that throughout history. But whenever I see two brown-skinned people get together, I see them making brown-skinned children. So that narrative that people are trying to put out there is straight up confusion and causes people to get turned away. Somebody who is logical like me and thinks for clarity, these people don't want to have nothing to do with something that makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? So I go out here on Facebook and I try to seek to clarify exactly where we come from. Now, when I say this stuff, man, I don't mean to be offensive and dismissive of other people. I don't try to say, you not indigenous, you not indigenous. I tell everybody, most of us are descendants of the indigenous ancestors, because our true indigenous ancestors have been long forgotten because of history and because of the agenda that the government tried to create and have been pushing for the last 200 years. Now, we don't quite understand that indigenous, really, if you were to look down at etymology, you would understand that, man, indigenous in itself sheds plenty of light to the naturally occurring people. But see, we got people that's doing top-down research instead of looking at it from the front and saying, okay, how did it get this way? We got a lot of people that's going back and saying, okay, well, what does indigenous mean? It means naturally occurring. And then they go back from there and start looking at other things like, what is a Negro? Negro really means black. If you look at it in Spanish, if you look at the perspective that was being spoken, and the word for black in Anglo-English is actually Indi. And a lot of people don't understand this, but if you was part of the indigenous community first from the beginning, you would know that Indi was a very easy word that you could find on just a Google search. You go out there and Google will tell you it's the darkest color of the color spectrum next to black. Black is supposed to be the absence of color by their determination. But if you was to look right up under that, you would see the word Indi. Indi is the darkest color of the color spectrum. Now, the thing is that when Columbus went over there when Columbus came over here, so-called Columbus, or whoever they want to give credit to founding America, when he came to America, he observed people that were so dark in color that he labeled them Indi. He called them, look, the West Indies. These are the people that's over here, because we had some people in the East, which is right over there in India. If you look at some of these Indian people that come from India of the East, you would look at them and notice that they are very, very dark in color. A lot of them are darker than a lot of our so-called Negroes in America. And a lot of people know, if you just look at these people, you see that. The thing about it is, man, is that they called them that because of their physical description. They didn't call them that because of no geographical location, which I always try to tell people, like, think logically. You know what I mean? If you actually think about it, you will see that this man did not make that big of a disparity between those two places. The only thing is that he seen a similarity that was so similar that he decided to label these people by two words that mean the same exact thing in both sides of the world. And both of them mean somebody who is of dark skin. Now, if you look at etymology, knowing that Indi means darkest color of the color spectrum, you look at the word indigenous, which is a compound word, put those two words together, if you understand what gene really mean, it does not mean something that is inside of your DNA structure. It does not talking about some type of little trait that you have that is a bar-like structure inside of this little bitty thing that you will never ever be able to see unless you are accredited and given permission by the government to see it. It does not mean that. If you look at the etymology of gene, it actually means offspring. That's the only thing that it means. These people are telling you about the dark offspring that is naturally occurring. So if you actually look at what they are really telling you, and somebody with a logical mind that can really think, and somebody who actually wants to be clear on this situation, they will understand that what the word indigenous really means is that dark people that give off dark offsprings are the naturally occurring people of any place in the world. So all indigenous people, when I say all indigenous people look the same, I'm not saying that, oh, every one of them is a carbon copy of each other. No, they are very similar in appearance, which is the first thing that you notice of appearance is somebody's skin color. When you see somebody from 40 yards away, you're going to look at their skin color. And most of the time, if you're looking at them from 40 and 50 yards away, like these colonizers was observing our people, because our Indian ancestors did not allow them to get close enough. Most of the time, we saw them as a threat and we killed them. We was vicious. That's why they called us savages. That's why they called us braves. Even though these people were shooting guns and stuff like that, we came at them with arrows and kept coming. We didn't care if we got hit. We would keep coming. We kept coming because we wanted to rid them. We was commanded to keep these people up off our shores because of what's happening today. And now we have assimilated and let this shit happen. But the thing is, man, is that we got to start being awake and aware to what's going on. So back to the whole thing about indigenous, you know what I mean? Now that you understand what indigenous really means, you got to understand that the government saw an opportunity in 1830 to say, hey, man, you know what? We got to start trying to make these people feel so indebted to the land, and they will not sell it. They will not use it against what we want, use it for what we want them to use it for. Every time we keep trying to encroach on it, they keep on bouncing us back. So what they started doing was trying to make us feel like we don't have no rights to the land whatsoever in the first place. So they came up with this whole Indian Removal Act. And when they first went down through Georgia, they realized, man, it was much harder to fight these people than it was to try to actually influence these people. So what they started doing was they used their missionaries, which was people that went out preaching the Bible. The Bible was first wrote and printed up in mass quantities in 1782, and they started using our own people and some of our mixed adversaries to try to go out there and preach it to our own people. Like if you look at the story of General McIntosh or William McIntosh, whoever you want to call him, Chief McIntosh, whatever you want to call him, if you look at the narrative of him, you will see that the Indians that killed him for his betrayal, they started seeing the carbon copy, the people that look like them and act like them, the people that look in between the mixed person, they saw that as a much bigger threat than the actual Caucasian, because the Caucasian couldn't do nothing. The white people could not do nothing in order to advance themselves. Their hatred was right on their sleeves. The people that was considered to be mixed, those people, they had a double agenda. They would come over here and play like, hey man, we good with y'all, this and that, da da da, yada yada yada, and then take all the information that they had and go back and give it to the colonizers and formulate a plan in order to use against us. And 9 times out of 10, they would make their bed with them because of the fact that they saw them as being a more advanced civilization, so to say. But even though they were not, they started trying to feel like they was. And because of their actions towards our people, they led us into a whole bunch of demise. And now we have those same people that's out here today trying to lead and be the top of the indigenous food chain. You know what I mean? Now, knowing what indigenous is, knowing where you come from and knowing where you go is very important. Now, I don't know if I already said this or not, but my family is light-skinned. I'm not very dark. My children are light-skinned, and I have a lot of people in my family that would be considered copper colored if y'all want to really just break it down. But the thing about it is, man, is that I understand where we come from. And a lot of my family members, they understand the same thing. They know that we have had mixtures inside our family. If you've got somebody that's considered mulatto or somebody else like that, you have a mixture. You got to understand that the naturally occurring people, they saw them in certain ways. Now, by the 1850s and stuff like that, man, they was making all kinds of laws that prohibited mixing because, one, the people that was coming to our society, they would choose to be with us versus them. And that right there was something that they started trying to make laws against. So they started doing everything they could in their power to try to create power for themselves. And once they finally got it, I can explain that too, but I ain't even gonna go into that. Right now, my issue is the image of the indigenous people. So I'm gonna keep to that. You know what I mean? So our people started selling out our own people. But the thing was that we didn't understand that it would be a slow and long process. You know what I mean? Like basically what they did was they used the generational gap. Because back in the day, our people used to communicate from all the way from the top down, all the way to 90, all the way down to somebody who was 9. They would communicate and they would have access to their elders, and the elders would tell them what was going on in the tribe, what was going on throughout the country. They would tell them that type of stuff. We would meet together and we would enlighten each other. But then we started having this school system and stuff. Not even just school, but we started having this divide of our population, in which they call a generational gap. This is where information stops being transferred from one generation to the next generation. So what they would do is they would go in and start teaching the younger generation a new narrative. By the 1830s, what they started doing was trying to make our people start realizing and start thinking that there was a whole nother person that was here on this continent before us. So they would start telling us that these people was here before y'all. Y'all don't really remember how long y'all been, because most of our people would only keep about 200 years at the most of oral lineage or oral documentation. And a lot of our people, handwritings had started to change. We started using English. We started seeing that as being something that was relative to our advancement in the future. So we started cutting off a lot of the information that we knew from each other in order to start picking up this new society. Now that right there started creating a lot of the generational gaps that we got today. But that is one of the big things that led to what we at today. Now, you go back in history, you'll start seeing that these people knew exactly who it was that they got here and saw. Like I tell folks all the time, they was not colorblind. These people right here, they knew exactly what they saw. They wrote it down. They said, hey man, they was Negro, they was black, they was Indian, they was all these colors like that. But nowadays you got people out here that's trying to say, oh no, that didn't really mean that. Negroes just meaning some type of phenotype. Phenotypes is something that has been created to explain something that they could not explain in the past. That is a new age, basic top-down research that is going on and going out here. When you see somebody talking about phenotypes, you need to slap that person and tell them, listen, man, shut the fuck up. That stuff makes no sense. It makes sense, but it's only to explain the outward appearance and why we have those phenotypes, why we have those mixtures. Why does this mixture create that mixture? Why does this type of hair come about when you mix these two people together? That's all it's explaining. It's not going back and shedding light on who they found in America first. And that's what I seek to do all the time, man. I seek for clarity and try to tell these people, like, listen, y'all out here trying to erase our own history. Y'all erasing our own ancestors right up off of the face of the earth because of the fact that y'all trying to be a part of something. Now, back to the light skin thing, man. Like I was saying, you look in today's future, in today's path, you notice it ain't nothing but a whole bunch of light skinned people that's going out saying, hey man, we went black. And if I was light skinned, I would be saying the same thing. I'd be like, listen, man, I ain't black. I can look at my skin right in the mirror and see it ain't black. Just like they saying, I can look at you can look at your skin and say it ain't copper, or it ain't black. Like they telling these brown skinned people, you can look at yours and say it ain't black, this and that. Yeah, they can, but you got to understand, these people was observing us from a distance, so they could not readily tell. Okay, well, this person might appear to be brown. They really appear much blacker than they do brown. So they used the word Negro, Indian, and black to describe our people. You know, we got to understand the narrative that's being pushed. You know, I basically want to. I've been wanting to get on Facebook and explain a lot of this stuff, man. But it's a lot to explain, but it makes very perfect, valid sense. All right, now if you was to go back and look at like what I be trying to tell folks, look at what I'm saying, man. I'm not trying to say that yesterday we was all black. No, that's not the case, because you can look at history and that clearly shows that we wasn't. But there's a process of elimination that has been going on. And nowadays we have the light-skinned person being presented much higher in standards than the dark-skinned person. Now, we got people that's light-skinned that deny that all day long, but you got real black people that's out here that's starting to realize that stuff, but they have nobody to speak for them. So they just tag along with the next person that's coming along talking about copper, because they want to be left, they would rather be in than to be left out. And now, like I say, I turn a lot of people on to this indigenous stuff, and it just goes right out the wind, because they be like, listen, man, I can't get with that. These people talking all types of crazy stuff. They talking about black means white, up means left, left means down, stuff like that, man. That's what they trying to say. They just use all of this misdirection in order to cause confusion on our own people, man. And I'm just tired of it. I don't really have time to go on here and explain like I want to explain, man. I'm just trying to hit on a whole bunch of stuff and try to give a little bit of clarity, man. I'm sorry if I may be all over the place like people be trying to say, but it's a lot of stuff that we need to cover. And the thing about it is, man, it's kind of hard to talk directly to myself, because I'm hoping I'm not falling on deaf ears and somebody out there feel what I'm trying to say, man. We got a lot of stuff that we need to uncover. And when we first found this out, it was very powerful information. You know, everybody knew, okay, African-American. When you thought of African-American, you thought about Kunta Kinte. You didn't think about the house nigga. You didn't think about him being the one that was on the slave ship, because not one time did they ever show you a slave ship. They show you a house nigga on it. The house nigga got that way by mixing with master. But the thing is that people that really have studied history knows that it did not work that way. A lot of times what really happened was you had these so-called white women, or these mulattoes, that would run away from their society of the white folks and come live with the black folks. And then they started creating their own race. You know what I mean? And these people out here, that's why they started making all them rules for mixing and stuff. Y'all can't go leave the farm and come over there to them niggas. Y'all can't do that. They started making that because just like they doing it today, just like you have the white woman running to the hands of the black man, they was doing it way back then. And the same thing, that's the reason why we have all these different colors of brown like we do today. Most of these people that go out here and say, oh, we just had that already, they stupid. I'm sorry to sit here and say that and be being offensive to people like that, man, but that's just straight up stupidity. People do not look at there's a cause and reaction for everything. You can't just say, oh, it already was. It was just like that. Brother, it was just like that. Brother, you just got to understand. It was like that. And I'm like, listen, man, there's nothing to understand because you're not giving me no foundation to understand it. You just telling me, no, it just was. You can't just say that. That's like saying the Big Bang just happened and it just happened because it did. I don't believe in the Big Bang. I know that the Big Bang did not occur because for every reaction for every action there's a reaction. And you just simply got to understand that, man. But somebody who can logically think, I give heads up to y'all, man, because those are the people that support me and the people that seem to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get out here and clarify, but I'm just spending a lot of time trying to get my family back into this struggle that we always in, because it is a fight every single day in order to survive. You cannot survive out here without going through some type of hoops. And right now, those are much more important than going out here arguing with people on Facebook. But at the same time, man, I see a whole community being forgotten and the whole community being created at the same time. And it's just pressing on me and pressing on my heart every day to get out here and try to explain this stuff, man. Sooner or later, I'm going to be able to get the medium that I need to be able to have to be able to explain this stuff. But until that time, man, I just pray and hope that y'all will start to, do a little bit of research. Do some thinking. You know what I mean? 2 + 2 = 4 every time, man. You ain't got to go backwards on something that you already know. Don't allow these people to trick you and make you believe that black means pale. Pale is black used to mean bleach. That's 2 different words. It's not. BLAC is not the same thing as BLEACH. It's not. BLECH is bleach. That's how it used to be spelled. Black was BLAC. Those are 2 different words. Now, I got a lot of things I want to cover, man, but I really can't just keep up with it. I don't want to go back and forth, backtracking and stuff like that, man. I just want to be able to get that out there to be able to explain to y'all that we got a lot of misdirection that's going on. And if we don't be careful, we're going to basically just straight up erase our whole history. 200 years of what the government has been trying to do. We got people that have come into this indigenous community and they have started using that same narrative that the government created 200 years ago, and they starting to push it today. Oh, we had this and that. Only thing they trying to do is say, yeah, the black people was included. Well, they been told you that with the Native American crap. They come talking about the freedmen, but then they want you to believe that the black man was included from Africa. You even got people that's going out here saying, hey, man, look at them Haitians. Them Haitians are straight descendants of Africa. But yet, when the first explorers got here, they told you, they said, hey, man, the Africans and the Indians, they don't look too much different. They look almost the same. They say they are black, not much different than the Ethiopians. I mean, if you was to look at the real history, man, it tells you who the people was. Like, a lot of things that I say, everything makes sense, man. But the stuff that these people say, it just makes no sense at all. And I hate the people out there putting salt on my name, trying to act like I'm some type of fool, and I be talking something stupid. But you got to look at these people and look at what I'm saying, man. You be the judge. You take the real stuff and boil out the bull crap. And then you see what really remains. You see that they have no foundation. The only thing they have foundation of is belief. They want you to believe that something is true. But what I always say, and what I've been continuing to say, is that belief is the lack of knowledge. If you have ever heard that phrase, I'm the one who created it. And I can tell you that without a doubt. I'm the one who started saying that stuff, and I have been saying it, and I will continue to say it. Because you will not believe what you do know. Like, I know I have 6 children. You're not going to make me believe that I do, because I know I do. The thing about it is, man, is that belief is the lack of knowledge, and there's something that a lot of people want y'all to do is just believe, and they want y'all to have no foundation, and that's confusion. But that is a government trick in order to diffuse something that is very, very, very useful. That is the best thing that has been given to man since knowing that man was created, is that niggas are the ones that are indigenous to America. Now, the word Negro means black. You know what I mean? People go out here and they be like, we ain't black, nigga. You know what I mean? I be like, hold on now, why you saying nigga if we ain't black? What do you understand what nigga comes from? What it directly means? It's like people promote confusion all the time, but yet they want me to be a part of something that's confusing. And I know, I've spoken with some of these people, all of the top people. The only person I have never had a conversation with is Dane Calloway. I ain't never really had a conversation with him, man. I've never actually said that, but everybody else that y'all so-called worship and follow, I've had a direct conversation with them on the phone, and none of these people can actually talk to me. None of these people can actually make sense of it. They just go about and then they'll go consult with their friends and say, hey man, let's create this and let's just forget about that, brother. Let's ignore them. They don't even go out here and try to bless me because they know most of the time when they bless me, most people pick up what I'm saying and they actually leave them and will come to me. I don't look for no followers, man, because the only thing I want y'all to do is understand the truth. I just want you to know where you come from. I want you to understand why it is that they have such a big problem with the dark-skinned man in America. Why it is that they won't allow a dark-skinned man to rap unless he mumbling and making a fool of himself. But at the same time, they put these white people in the spotlight. People like Drake, who is clearly fucking mixed. They put him in there. People like Rihanna, she's mixed. If you put people like Cardi B, who's a Mexican, she called niggas more niggas than niggas do. And then all at the same time, they putting all this light-skinned people in front of you because that's their directive. These people have been trying to take over and they have been trying to push that every single time, but our people have shut it down because we have always been connected and we always knew who we were. But now you have all these people going out here that's just basically forgetting who they are, what they was, and they picking it up for something that they want to be today. Now, you got to understand, man, that's a government plot and that's been their plot for 200 years and they not going to let it go. You ask the indigenous people who their opposition is today, can't none one of them answer because they have no opposition. These people are pushing them. My opposition is the indigenous community at this point in time because the indigenous community is the one that's going out here promoting nonsense. Most of these people that's out here, even Pan-Africans, don't even deal with them. They be like, man, y'all stupid. I ain't got time to worry about y'all. They just dumb down our conversation and our whole movement because of the fact that they know we been misled on high amounts of information. The things that are real crucial, you can go back, whenever they have a conversation with a Pan-African, guess who they gonna show? They gonna show the Negro. But then they gonna come show you this old copper color rainbow type stuff. Oh man, but we had light-skinned people. We had people that was almost white. We had people that was almost black. We had people that, well no, we didn't have people that was almost black. We had people that were dark-skinned, but they were not black. Remember, they were not black. But guess what, man? These folks wrote down that they was black for almost 400 years. And y'all people, and we still being called that today. You see people out here that still look that way. Got people in my family that looks that way. I got an uncle that looks like Grease. I love him to death, man. You know, God bless him. I got much respect for him. You know what I mean? We got some dark-skinned people in my family. But most of my family comes from mulatto people. You know what I mean? We got some mulatto people that's in my family, and I've tracked my history to show that. And I tell people that all the time, man. I have nothing to hide. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my future. I'm proud of my kids. I'm proud of everything that I see. I'm proud of everything that I come from. And because of where I know, because I know where I come from, I have no problem with speaking on this. Some of the people that's out here that's teaching you we had all these different shades, they know for a fact that they have mixtures in their family, but they will sit up here and allow you to go out there and preach it because of the fact that you give them support. As long as you give these people some support, they're going to keep on doing what they're doing. Batting their eyes and laughing and giggling, thanking everybody for everything that they're doing. But not knowing that half of the people that's supporting them is actually government agents, Native Americans. Native Americans get down with what y'all saying because they know damn well that that's not the truth. They've been trying to seek and tear down the image of people that have been indigenous for a long time. And now they don't even have to do much work. They allowing y'all to do it for them. People like me that's out here that's actually trying to put in the footwork, but I don't have the time to do it and I can't fight the battle alone. So I'm speaking to the people out here that's really trying to uncover this truth. And I applaud y'all for actually standing strong. I know it's only a few of us, man, but we're going to build. And we're going to continue to grow. And we're going to continue to get what we got to get. Because it's going to have to be war against our own people if that's what it's going to have to be, man. I'm not trying to go out here and fight and divide nobody up. I just want people to understand that you got to know what you are fighting for. Because if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And most of y'all just falling for stuff. Y'all just going out here and just falling down. And y'all creating this. And if you look at who you are, you can see, look yourself in the mirror. You will see who you are. Most of y'all people trying to lighten yourself up. Probably put filters on your camera and be like, hey man, I'm copper color. I'm red. I'm orange. Not knowing that you going backwards. You doing disgrace to your ancestors. But I done gave y'all enough of what I had to say for right now, man. You know, any questions, comments, be more than happy to go ahead. I try to answer them as I can, but hey, if I don't get back on there and want to pop on Facebook like that, man, y'all got to forgive me because I got kids. I got 6 children to try to feed, and I could care less about arguing and bickering with y'all. But I'm very passionate about this history, and I'm very passionate about our future, and I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to fall down. So if y'all with me, then be with me. If you're against me, let me know. I don't have time for that extra stuff, so y'all just be cool. Y'all be safe. I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but everybody else, peace up. God bless. See you.